Have you ever been sitting across from somebody who's being very candid with you? They're revealing something about themselves, but you cannot help thinking to yourself, why the hell are they telling me this? Now, we've all had this experience. Somebody is being vulnerable with us, but it doesn't win us over or make us feel more sympathetic. More likely than not, we wonder why they don't have enough sense to keep some things to themselves. That's the topic of this podcast. It's one of the most obvious yet underestimated strategies for gaining and keeping influence. It's withholding information and keeping your intentions hidden. This is also Law 3 from Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Before I begin, I want you to stick around until the very end because there are some important caveats and exceptions to this law. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name's Nick. I run the social media channel No BS, where I discuss practical psychology and philosophy that can be used by ambitious men. Now, I went from being very shy, very chubby, and in a very dead-end town to traveling and living abroad, getting fit, writing books, and living the life that I wanted. And I'm on a mission to help guys like you do the same. Now, this channel is all about bringing you tools and insights to help you become more disciplined, reject social conditioning, and become greater than you are right now. If you've never read it, Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power is filled with uncommon wisdom on how to develop yourself as a man of power and influence. However, it's also long and filled with tons of anecdotes. To make it more accessible and useful for men with busy lives, I'm creating a video series along with a summary that breaks down the basics of each law and gives practical tips on how to apply them in everyday life. In this podcast, we'll learn why being too transparent and obvious about your intentions might be costing you. This is Law 3, and it is paramount. Now, most people are open books. After all, it does feel good to be listened to. We like to use people as sounding boards and to have them validate our feelings and beliefs. Secondly, it's easy to simply say what's on our minds at any given moment, whereas it takes effort to hold our tongues, to strategically withhold information, or to be deceitful. Lastly, we often falsely believe that people really care about us, or that they will see us in a more favorable light when we give them an unfiltered view of our minds. Thus, being so open and honest has several pitfalls. First, you easily offend people. While you may think that you're giving useful feedback or insight, it's much more likely that you are needlessly offending the sensibilities of the person you're talking to. More importantly, by not tailoring your words and speaking with intention, you simply become boring and predictable. People can see through you and they lose the ability to fear, respect, or admire you. Now, if your goal is to accrue power, influence, and respect, you are much better served by being selective about what you say. Now, this doesn't mean you should shut down and reveal nothing. Instead, it is often intentions with verbiage, talking more if necessary. Rather than being blunt and forthcoming, instead, you should set up conflicting signals. Mix desire with indifference. Throw people off. Make them guess what you really want or think. This will inflame their desire to impress or possess you. By talking endlessly about desires that might not be true, you can accomplish several things. First, you appear friendly and open. Second, you conceal your true desires. And third, if you are talking to an enemy, they will be sent on fruitless chases trying to prevent you from attaining something that you actually don't care about. Now, in seduction, when you remain a bit of a mystery, people become more attracted. When they wonder what you are thinking about, they are thinking about you. When you playfully withhold information, you build suspense and curiosity. On the other hand, when you tell the truth too much, you ruin the fun and diminish your own intriguing appearance. Thus, the art of building power depends on learning to act and communicate in a manner that is suspenseful, leaving room for people to interpret your motivations. Of course, As with all the laws of power, there are important exceptions. At times, it is important to communicate your intentions to subordinates in a clear and direct manner. Likewise, a lot of guys will quote unquote conceal their intentions, but they're coming from a place of fear and subordination. They're trying to shield their egos from the sting of potential rejection. Now, if this is you, I recommend doing the opposite. You need to be abashedly open, at least for a period, until you gain the courage that comes from making yourself vulnerable. But generally speaking, and especially while you are building power, it's often useful to not reveal too much. Maintain yourself like a magician. Never reveal your secrets, and crowds will return show after show to see more. In case you still need help applying this law, here are a few more practical tips. First, in conversations, give playful lies as jokes. Don't always be so serious. Next, when you're speaking, focus on stirring emotions, not simply conveying information. Stop being so logical. By concealing your intentions, you maintain an allure that is impossible to sustain by simply being open and blunt. Now, if you enjoyed this podcast, or if you disagree, be sure to leave a comment and let me know why. And if you want my full actionable summary of the 48 Laws of Power, I send it out to everyone who subscribes to my Substack. The link is in the description. Be sure to subscribe to learn more practical tips to develop yourself to a higher level while gaining respect and influence. Until next time, thanks for listening.